Alright, welcome to part 2. We're going to continue here from Bloodwing and go all the way to the end, so you can learn the kind of meat of the game and where all the boss fights and all that start happening. Alright, here we go. So, after you turn in the quest to Roland here, you just want to come to, just do a save quit, and then you'll end up being able to travel here. We don't have to do the double save quits anymore because, for whatever reason, they're just not needed. They were necessary before, but right when we get here to wildlife exploitation preserve, it's not necessary anymore. So again, get your infinite ammo back on, get your merges back going, and then you're ready to go. Just kind of run through the area as normal. Go directly towards Mordecai. That's your first objective.
Sentry deployed.
Immediately once you talk to Mordecai, you can just run straight ahead and move down to the bottom over here. Get ready for the next part of the quest.
Looks like at least a two-man job. You can get inside to the shipyard, I can give you support and lead you to Bloodwing. You get my bird, you get your claptrap upgrade.
And this part can be a little tricky, especially since you'll have a bit of higher damage than you normally would in something like New Game or something like that. So making sure you only kill 3 without dying or losing too much time can be a little tricky. Just kind of do your best. Don't really have anything other to offer other than just kind of keep trying until it works. Until you get them. There you go. Eventually, if you do it right, you'll get them all. And then you'll just want to run up to here. Jump onto this ladder. And then you're going to want to grenade jump over on top of this little ledge here. Just like that.
Now you be careful, honey.
And then you'll want to keep moving. They kind of a straight line path if possible.
Deploying sentry.
As always. You can check the chest if you really need things still. It's optional though. And what we're gonna do up next, something called Waterfall skip. These guys would leave me alone. And basically, you can hit the save point that's right inside this door, but you don't have to if you're worried about dying or something like that. But you can either grenade jump like this, just kind of get on top of this little platform, or you can do it without a grenade, just by kind of jumping like this, which can be a little tricky, but once you get it, it's worth it. And you gotta be really careful with ice gag, but you have to be really careful on the edges here. You can really easily fall off, so definitely practice that. It skips having to run around the backside over there, so it's a couple seconds worth, if nothing else.
Bird deployed.
Definitely worthwhile. He's back now, or was back at least. And then for this area right here, you'll notice I'm kind of focusing my attention on the enemies that are down bottom. The 2 loaders that spawn up top here don't actually mean anything in terms of the area. Like, all you're waiting for is the badass stalker to spawn. These guys have no relation to that. So you can pretty much ignore them, though you'll want to kill every stalker that spawns and every moonshotted loader outside of those 2. So eventually, I'm gonna put my slag grenade on now that my turrets are down. badass will spawn right here. And just kind of murder him real quick. And then right when that badass dies, this ultimate badass will spawn. And he's the trigger to be able to walk through this door here. You not, maybe. Or, you know, just go ahead and do that. So once he's dead, just kind of run right past him. Because otherwise, you can't really get in the door. So that's the basic order. You want to kill everything in it. You can open the chest there again if you need something. Here, we'll check out because I can still get a better class mod. Doesn't look like I got it. And then you'll just want to run through this door for the area. Nice reclaim there. Let's pick that up, turn right around. Don't have to kill the badasses unless they're being really painful. Normally they won't be. Check the chest again. Maybe you'll get a class mod or something you're missing at that point. But at this point you should really be clearing... you should have just about everything you need. You shouldn't be looking too heavily for gear still. You can be if you get really bad luck. It is possible, for sure. It's just normally it won't happen that way. The bare minimum for the skip coming up is going to be 3 grenades. Well, actually I'm going to show it both ways here. So basically this area right here is going to have a fight that normally would open that door right over there. But there's an out of balance on this little platform here that will skip that door completely. Technically the bare minimum for this is going to be 1 grenade. So if you only have 1 grenade, you can pretty much do this skip, no big deal. For the faster version of this skip, you're going to need at least 3. So for beginners, I would recommend learning the easier one and the slower one, because it's only slower by about 10 seconds or so. And I'm going to show both here. But it's really not that much slower, and it's a lot more consistent. As long as you've practiced it. Both of these are going to require practice for you, but it's just up to you which one you prefer. So I'll get in here and kind of show you both. So you're going to want to run up here. Definitely be watching out for skags, especially like this guy here. That could mess up your day. Because they will run up and jump on top of you and make it almost impossible to do this skip. So I would recommend making sure there are no skags nearby that want to come say hi. This guy. Like these guys in general. Here. Normally you'd kind of be able to run past him a little faster, but since I'm kind of showing this off, I'm going to take it a little slower. Especially without a kill skill here. If you've got too much movement speed, you might do this wrong. But basically for this jump, you're going to... the whole goal is to get onto that platform. So there are 2 different ways to set up the grenade for it also. You can either stand here in the back and kind of just chuck your grenade and run forward and jump, which is my method, but it doesn't always... If it doesn't mess with you, you can also try doing something else here. Alright, you need to go away. Not do this, maybe? Alright. Just trying to speedrun, guys. Alright. So another thing you can do is you can kind of toss a grenade straight down right here. And then jump across like that. And one important thing to note about this jump and this skip is if you jump too late, you're not going to make it. You have to jump a little bit before the grenade explodes. It's the exact same timing as if you were just grenade jumping straight up into the air, so right then. It's the exact same timing. It's just you're not necessarily going to see that second bounce for when you're supposed to jump again. So definitely practice this one. It's going to be the one that might give you the most trouble, and it is the only required grenade jump. So, alright, there is that. So, I'm going to first show you the grenade-less skip, which is up this way, but then I'm also going to show you the one with grenades over here that's a little bit riskier, and saves about an additional 10 to 15 seconds, something like that. So you'll kind of get out of bounds up here, it's because that wall doesn't actually require anything, you can just walk through it. You want to jump onto this, and then jump right about here. Now if I crouch and kind of inch forward, you'll notice where I am. I'm on top of this, but I can kind of fall into the ground really easy right here. So you can go too far this way, and you'll probably fall inbounds, which is still better because you still skip the door, but you have to walk all the way around this arena. So what you want to do is you can either inch across this little platform thing here, just kind of walk along this, or you can just kind of jump onto, kind of jump onto this black platform here, because you'll see it's this that I'm trying to land on. And then while you're on here, kind of back up towards the edge, and then just run and jump onto this. So you do have to be a little careful on this skip. You can fall in bounds really, really easily, but this is where you're trying to end up. And so then you can just kind of walk through the wall right about here, so you're on this. And even though it looks like we can get in the arena, there is a wall right here. So we're going to have to get around that. You can either just kind of jump and airstrafe around. It will work. Whatever you're comfortable with. I'm personally comfortable with the method where you bounce off this wall here. So what you want to do is you kind of want to line up right about here, and if you face too shallowly, or too sharply inwards, I guess, if you face too far this way, you're not going to get the right bounce. So you kind of want to look directly on. So you kind of run at the jaw wall, bounce, and do that. It's just that kind of movement. Run at the wall, and I'll show you here now what happens if you fail it. That wasn't what I was trying to do, but hey. You kind of fall down here, and you can't really get up easily. I bet you could jump up here or something. Yeah, okay, you can probably fix it if you have enough grenades from here. Well, there's a wall there. I don't know, that'd be kind of risky. The whole point is to not fall here. So definitely practice that last jump, because it can be the most tricky one. I'm trying to get in there. You are in bounds once you've made it, and you can just kind of walk into the arena. It's just, you have to be very careful. However, normally there's going to be the best way out is to either kill yourself via a rocket or something like that. If you don't have a rocket though, and you want to not fall forever, you can jump into this little room, because it has a insta-kill plane once you fall down here. So that'll warp you back up here. So, they are both risky, they both have risks involved with them, but I personally find that I'm much more consistent with the... It is much easier to just kind of do that one, for me at least. It's gonna be personal preference, really. Whatever you prefer. Get a few more grenades here. And let's show you the next one. Also, if you have a lot of grenades right here, if you got like full grenades, you can also do grenade jumps on top of this to skip the catwalk. So, there are a couple different options for this entire area in terms of movement in general. It's all up to you to decide what is most comfortable and what the situation is gonna... what the situation's gonna require, because you do have to adapt very much for what is actually going on in the game. So yeah, there is that one that I showed you. Definitely practice it, because you can mess it up and fall down and have to run back and all this stuff, and it's not fun. And there's also this one. So just want to grenade jump over onto this little platform here from over there. You don't need to do it straight down, you can also get a running start, but it's not going to really matter until you're trying to save the little seconds on the run. So you'll notice this entire rock's pretty solid. You can just run across the entire thing. And right down there is an insta-kill wall, so if you do fall off, you're not going to be falling forever or anything like that. Run across the rock onto here. And we'll now be able to activate the Bloodwing cutscene right over there, so you'll just want to run into that corner to actually activate the cutscene, which is the only reason this is actually faster, by the way, because you come out right over here for the other skip, and then you can hit the cutscene in there. But this is slightly faster because all you have to do is run around here and then trigger there. If you had to actually get inbounds, then this would be slower because unfortunately there is a wall right here that we can't exactly get over. It'd be really convenient if we could, but there's no real way. So I'm not going to activate the cutscene yet, just to kind of show you guys the skip before I do it. But then afterwards, after I do this jump once, then we'll go activate it and show you how it's supposed to look in the run. So, again, we can't exactly get inbounds from here without a grenade, which is why this is a 3 grenade skip. Takes more grenades, it's slightly riskier, in my opinion. You want to avoid the invisible wall here, because if you get in here, you're kind of stuck. So just kind of come around onto this, so that you're like this. You can kind of ride the invisible wall up the top here. And then the goal is to be on top of this roof, because that will let us get unbounds. The wall kind of stops right about there-ish. So what you want to do is kind of line up with the floor here, and it's just a perfect height jump up, straight up. And once you get the jump, you can hold forward and all that. So it's going to look like this. Right on top there. If you land down here, if you don't make it all the way up, you didn't make it, and you can't actually get back out with a grenade because the terrain is going to eat the boost off of this little thing here. So you can stand up here and just run and bounce from over there. But I'll show you what it's going to, like how much time you really have in terms of the skip for the cutscene and all that. So kind of jump back down here. And another thing to note that this ground is completely solid. So if you fall and miss, you really have to try to actually die. It's not something that's just going to happen. So I'll kind of activate the cutscene and show you what it will look like inside. I do need to mention though that Krieg can't do either of these. So you're gonna have to go through the door, through the area normally. He's the only exception because of his bad grenade jumping ability. So it's another route difference for him. It's only a couple minutes slower, like 1 or 2, really and truly, but it is something that you have to do. So we'll activate the cutscene here, and then I'll show you exactly how much time you're working with. Also, the little supply crate down on the bottom there, you can actually reach from here. So if you are out of grenades, you might be able to crouch down and get lucky and find them. You know, just like that. You see, I got an extra one there. So if you really feel super risky or don't feel safe with this, you do have options for a couple more grenades, but outside of that, you're still gonna have a limited amount. So there we go. And then you can just kind of run inbounds. You're fine. So, now you'll either use your scattergun that you may have at this point, or your Lasco, either one. Just, you need a good crit weapon for Bloodwing here. And I do need to talk about the Bloodwing manipulation before we actually move on any farther. So basically something that happens with AI in this game is that if it's spawning in and you're in the air, it doesn't actually recognize you as a target and won't actually move. and it will continue that as long as you continue jumping. It's really not certain why that happens, but that's what does happen. So you can do that with Bloodwing here, actually, if you jump at the right time. However, there is a potential problem with it because you can actually jump a little too soon, as far as I know. I think that's what causes it. If you see Bloodwing kind of get stuck at a weird angle while you're doing this, it's gonna potentially do a soft lock for at least a short amount of time, where Jack will kind of switch between elements really quickly. You'll be able to know when it's about to come because Bloodwing's AI does really weird stuff, and it's pretty obvious when it's about to happen. There's nothing you can do to stop it. It just kind of happens if you do this wrong. So basically the whole plan is to just spam jump when you're right underneath her while you're trying to do as much damage as possible and crit her in the face. So yeah, it doesn't really matter where you are, it's about the timing. So if she escapes, you probably started jumping a little too late. So let's see how many I can get here. So you notice I start jumping right as she starts going up in the air. And she just kind of stays there. So again, right as she starts moving up in the air. And then one more time. Yeah, see, I missed it there because I didn't jump quite right. It's a very strict timing, and you can very easily miss it, but I mean, it's just something to work at and see if you can get it right. It's all about being consistent with your timing on that. Once you get the power, that core, just go ahead and save quit and re-enter. You'll be good to go. Alright, travel to Sanctuary. And right here you'll be going directly to Claptrap. Once you talk to Claptrap, you can just run directly away. If you got a little bit of time here, you can actually check the vendors. Just make sure you're pretty fast with it. If you don't have any need, just kind of grenade jump up into the area here. You've got a couple seconds. Just turn this in, grab the note, and save quit. Because this will unlock 1,000 cuts for you. And we can go directly there. Oops. Definitely practice your map traveling. You can do it by either the map or by the menu. Especially if you're on console, you're going to have to get good at the menu in and of itself, but or at least on a controller, that is. But the goal is to go directly to 1,000 cuts there, not actually to the Highlands. Alright, get your infinite ammo again. I should mention that for everyone that doesn't have a inherent movement speed skill like Axton does, it's a very smart idea to have things like to be doing grenade jumps as much as possible. Wow. It's kind of unlucky. But I still got an onslaught out of it. I'll kind of mention who does have movement and who doesn't. Zero's got his deception, what's gonna let him run a bit faster. Maya has fleet, so you really want to use grenade jumps on her so that you can kind of get your shield down sometimes. And then you got things, let's see. Krieg has Buzz-Axe Rampage, but it's not nearly as possible to use it easily. Action's obviously got Onslaught, but well, Salvador has Gunzerking, so it's really only Gage that doesn't have movement speed increase on demand, unless you really just want to kill things on your way. So, but then again, the only people you're not going to be grenade jumping ever on, just to kind of speed up your progress everywhere, is going to be Axton and Krieg. Krieg because he doesn't go anywhere with it. Axton because he already has enough move speed to not worry about grenades. But anyways, this area, it's kind of kill everything as quickly as possible. There's not much to it. It's just kind of optimizing fights. That's about all there is to it. Sometimes you can get a little unlucky and they'll spawn in the back up here and they won't actually cooperate and jump down, so you will have to jump down and fight them every once in a while. So it's just kind of do your best, kill everything quickly, don't die too much. All about being as comfortable as possible on the character. Ow. And not blowing yourself up with rockets, that kind of helps too. Wow. When you don't have a torque barrel launcher, it's also going to be a little bit easier, or at least when you have Malon parts, because, let's face it, torque barrel's very hard to use effectively. But if you're not careful, you can die really, really easily in this fight, so definitely be careful. Where is this guy? There we go. You can kind of position yourself up top in between waves, because it'll let you kill the majority enemies a little bit easier. But it's up to you where you feel comfortable, because they will most of the time eventually jump down for you. Most of the time. Most of the time. There are exceptions to that, as always. Okay, and once you cleared the entire area, you're pretty much done. And you can just kind of wait here. One thing I do need to mention though is that 2 badass Goliaths that spawn at the very start actually don't matter towards the progress of the fight until the very last wave. So you can actually ignore them for the most part without any consequences. Instantly give this and then shoot the sarcastic slab, because it'll actually skip that dialogue right there. So it is strats to actually kill him. And from this point, it's just a waiting game. Make sure that you're over here by the time Brick gets over there. Other than that, you can check all of these. You can kind of look for loot midgets. You can do whatever you really want through this area, as long as you're over here by the time Brick gets there. So it's up to you what you do. As long as you get that dialogue, it means you're over there for it. And if you don't get anything, no big deal. You can also do a grenade jump to get out of this a little early. It doesn't actually help because you have to wait before you kill all these enemies or it's going to soft lock. You have to wait at least for the door to open. But it lets you get in a better position and maybe kill a few early, if you'd rather do that than check loot. If you don't sit here and wait, and Brick will soft lock, and it will be a problem. And you'll be very sad. And trigger Brick once everything's done up here. Go ahead and put my slag grenade back on, because I'm going to need it for this next warloader here. So my turrets aren't up. Alright, once you kill that guy, avoid all the turrets. Just kind of run to this beacon. Up top is a bit safer, because just in general, there are only 1 or 2 mortars that'll actually hit you up there. So more or less, most of the time you won't die if you're up there. You can. I have. It's just a little bit rarer. It's much rarer, for sure. Ow. Again, it's just kind of optimizing fights here. Make sure you hit this brick trigger. And then, if you want, you can kind of get up here and check this. Careful of the mortar up there. If I got anything. I'm just not going to finish this with a good class mod, am I? There's going to be someone here that I can get up off of. There we go. Again, slag is very much your friend. Slag is very much your friend. Pretty much how to optimize these fights. Just slag as much as possible while not dying as much as I am in this tutorial, but it's fine. The buzzards you don't have to worry about, though they can be slightly annoying. Check up here for something that you don't have. And definitely be careful through this area. You don't have to be nearly as careful as you would in, like, say, a new game run or anything like that. But you can still go down pretty easily to the beacons, and then it's really hard to get up off of anything. This badass can spawn in one of 2 spots. It can either spawn where it is now, or it can spawn to my, I guess, right behind me here. And once he's dead, you can just run right to the end. Once you get that check mark, you are good to travel away. You don't have to wait for Brick or anything else like that, just go directly to Sanctuary. Alright, let's do our grenade jump back up here. Oh, I do need to mention for Krieg players that you can get up here. Like, believe it or not, you can actually get on this little lip here with a grenade jump. It may not look like you can, but you can actually land right about here as Krieg. So it is still possible to do this grenade jump to get up here for that, if nothing else. Everything else is kind of whatever. But yeah, there is good. Alright, here you'll always get a melee shield, but you'll also get the choice of a launcher. So for launcher-based characters, this is a really good chance to get an upgrade. Granted, you have to get a not TDR weapon right here, but you could get a really good launcher if you're kind of lucky. I didn't get an upgrade, and I don't use melee because I'm not Krieg. But definitely as Krieg, look out for this melee shield because it's probably going to be better than anything you find without the route. So just kind of pick whichever one you want. If you're just going for launchers, just kind of spam enter, you'll find it. You can look for whatever you want here. Let's see, do I have a 3rd sniper? It doesn't look like I do, so I'm going to go ahead and buy that for the endgame fights. Alright. You do want to save quit here. save quitting at least one time is what lets you travel early. So if it doesn't actually show up, definitely save quit, because you should be able to travel directly to every area from here on out. From here to the end.
To breach the final door to my chambers,
Again, there's this weapon vendor that's really close that you can check for whatever.
password in his voice.
There's a health vendor, there's a grenade vendor. All things you can check.
I can get
Alright, nice. I finally got a good class mod. It took all the way this far into the tutorial, but we got something. Again, I would prefer a heavy gunner, but you'll see that, well, looks like I don't even use overload, so there you go. You just prefer a heavy gunner for sure. Or just 8 kills. A skill that is useful for your respective character, as it is whoever that may be. I at least got the fire rate, and that alone is good enough.
Toss it a masher.
That's one of the body doubles Jack uses to confuse assassins and impress his underlings.
For the Timothy fight here, with the body double, you're gonna have to be very careful in the fight, because if you go down or don't kind of manipulate his AI, he will run backwards forever. He is very quick, so you have to be sure to kill him as quick as possible. For people with high crit damage, aka Maya, 0, anything like that, you can pretty much just shoot him in the face a bunch, other than that, and he'll pretty much go down instantly. For the launcher people, it's going to be a little bit tougher because you don't do nearly as much damage, so it's just kind of kill him as quickly as possible there. When you get the voice recorder, just instantly run to this right here and double click it. The double click is extremely important because that first skips the dialogue and then it plays the echo so that the game is actually thinking it's playing. So again, double tap. Throughout this entire area, it's better to double tap than to not at all. Definitely do that. So from here, just want to run this kind of route. Hopefully I'm gonna go down here. Grit didn't proc. Awesome. And then you'll want to run right up to the next kiosk from here. Again, this is one that you have to double tap if you get here too early. If Angel stops talking like this, you can actually just hit it one time. Otherwise, hit it twice. Okay, now what I did here is I hit this kiosk before anything else. I hit it, it's good. It already skipped itself and played as if I had done it, and given me the mark for 2 there. You'll notice. This is a strat only if you get that. If you don't get that 2 of 4 right now, if it does not say 2 of 4 right when you hit the button, do not do the strat. But you can just save quit. This will warp you closer to the 3rd kiosk instead of having to run all the way there. Granted, you might have to set up infinite ammo based on who you are and how safe you feel getting this one with or without it. I'm gonna try without it because you don't need to kill anything right now. So you just kind of want to run up, hit that, and just book it away. And hopefully you won't go down, especially if you didn't get infinite ammo. With infinite ammo, it doesn't really matter, but, you know, you can check. You kind of take this route on the way over here. You can jump either through here to check that, or you can kind of come around it. Either way, it's about the same. It's just you're trying to book it down to this last one. So once you hit that, then get up the hill and wait for it to clear so that you get to come in this door. So I'm gonna go back and show you kind of the route that you should take if you don't get that dialogue skip here in a second.
Attach the pocket watch quickly.
But outside of that, just kind of run in here and do that. And ignore this guy as best as possible.
See the files.
Open this, maybe get something good. Like that, that's a really good cooldown rate. Once you get that, the normal strat here would be to save quit right back to the beginning. And that's what you should be doing. I'm just going to be showing you exactly
You will speak in Jack's voice.
what you'd want to do if you miss the
I will tell you
the skip up here, though.
at the appropriate
If you don't get this dialogue skip.
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2.
So you want to hit this and run up here. Run up on this, and you can either grenade jump onto that one, or you can just kind of jump right here and run straight across this top section here and run down and hit that one. So either way, you're going to want to come on top of this, come over, because that's going to be pretty much the straightest route and the fastest way to do so. But that's only if you don't get it to the second one fast enough to get to a fort instantly, because otherwise you're just not going to save any time by save quitting there. It only saves a couple seconds. So even if you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't worry about it. So after you save quit out of the voice modulator room, you'll just kind of go ahead and leave for Sanctuary. Okay, take a grenade mod off. Jump onto here,
Hey, Slab.
turn in the quest,
This is
and
it.
save quit instantly. Because otherwise you'd just be sitting there waiting for a very, very, very long dialogue. And we don't have time for that. I'm trying to go fast, right? Alright. So now it's just gonna get to Claptrap. And then again, we're gonna save quit. However, this is one time that to save a little bit of time and not to listen to Claptrap, which was kind of a double win there,
Serious conviction or not?
double tap. Because if you do it one time, you're going to have to listen to Claptrap for a little bit longer. He's going to say, "Minion, let's get to 1,000 cuts," or whatever he's going to say in that way. And then from here, just kind of save quit. This will warp you back to the start, and it's much faster than running. The plus this no, because we're going to 1,000 cuts, so it's already unlocked. It's not a big deal. Alright, just right onto 1,000 cuts. Get your infinite ammo again. Go on to and then we're gonna go right to bunker here. Get your merges. And then make sure you have at least one grenade coming into this, because you kind of have to make it across this gap here. I think Axton can make it here. I'm actually going to try, because I think Axton can make it with Onslaught without a grenade. But he'd be the only one that can do it grenadeless. If so. Yeah, alright. So with Onslaught, Axton can just kind of jump across, even without an Onslaught mod. But otherwise, you'd want to grenade jump across up here. And yes, this is a skip that Krieg can do. You have to be a little bit more accurate. You have to be a little... You have to have a really good jump to do it. But you will make it right around where I am, just with a Krieg grenade jump. So it is possible. Definitely Krieg players don't go running around the side here. That'd be too slow for you. Just jump across. It's better. So yeah. Next, we're just going to want to get the Claptrap up here. And once you hit him, you can just kind of chill out for a couple seconds. There's not a whole lot for you to do. Nothing important, at least. Just wait for this deterrence field to come down, and then you'll be good to go after that. Next thing that we're going to be doing is jumping over this little barrier here. This is not a very good barrier, seeing how it's so slanted. So, what you can do is just kind of run directly up to it. You can either grenade jump over it, or just kind of jump at an angle, and you'll make it over top. So all you want to do there is just kind of jump downhill, and get right about here, jump up, and move that way. So it's just going to jump that way, and you'll land on top right about there. So you can get over it really fast comparatively. All right. For this constructor, since constructors can't be slagged, you're going to want to some onslaught for the extra damage and just kind of crit him a lot. Because crit damage is going to be a little bit better on that guy. Wow. I have not seen them get stuck like that before. Instead of waiting for the mortars to fall, like if a mortar is going to fall right in front of you, you can just grenade jump up like that. The other way to do it is to, please don't kill me right now, jump up onto that little platform there, because otherwise you're really not going to be able to make up real quick. And a safe route through here is to do this. You kind of wedge yourself up into this corner, and jump up on top of this rock. Here, kind of run up onto this, because this skips both having to deal with all these enemies, it skips having to deal with the mortars. It's really, really nice. And unfortunately, we have to deal with these turrets now. These guys are not affected by the launchers in any way for whatever dumb reason. So just kind of pull out your high DPS weapon, whether it be the Lasco, whether it be a scattergun. You're probably going to be a bit better off with the Lasco, seeing how accurate it is comparatively to the scattergun. To be honest, it might be better than the scattergun in general with that fire rate. I don't know. It's a level 70. I don't know. I might be better with this one. From here, on Krieg, you'll actually want to grenade jump up to this little area. Just kind of do a jump onto that and then run around. But for everybody else, you're actually going to want to run and jump onto right about here, and then get up here. Well, that was interesting. Something to mention about this badass constructor is that it won't spawn unless you kill at least a few things, because of the way the game handles enemy limits. Because the game won't spawn more enemies if there are already too many enemies on the map. So you really will only have to kill a couple. Like, you can always kill the surveyors as long as you have something to deal with them. You can sit here and you can basically try to kill as many enemies as possible on your way up here. Surveyors are your best bet. Sometimes you get lucky and an exploder will die and he'll spawn like he just did. I don't know, it's weird. Grab grenades if you don't have them. And a grenade jump right onto this platform here and get killed apparently. Can you not, maybe? I just want to make it up here. Alright. They're being a little mean. So here. We'll get there eventually. We'll get there eventually. Wow. Yeah, you can get really kind of trolled on that, so it might actually have been better for me in that situation to just run around, even though it would have been much slower. I just got really, really hardcore hit by everything at once. Another reason that you probably are going to want to take out the surveyors if possible, because they can seriously mess up your day. Very seriously. Just by knocking your shield down even is enough. Make things worse for you. So let's see if I can try that again. Probably can, seeing as he despawned. Jesus. I think I'd never grenade jumped in my life. There we go. Come here, Surveyor. And you'll see kind of how the enemies messing up other enemy spawns because there's so many down there already. It can be kind of painful at times to get everything to spawn here again. There we go. Or he's still hanging out. Perfect example of how this game can screw you up every once in a while. Because it's really good at it sometimes. Once he kind of shows his eye here, as long as he's not nuking, you definitely want to crit him. Okay, yeah, that's easily the better option. That is easily the better option. Oh good, he spawned something, so I can't actually open the door. Okay, it was the turret. Well, I guess it's better to show what can go wrong as well as what can go right. And I've kind of done that well. Definitely done that kind of well.
Hey, you know how I got my hands on that vault key? See, a few years back, Wilhelm and I paid a visit to your little friend Canis, and we...
A lot of this is a lot easier, especially with Zero, seeing as you can just bore that guy. But you can get pretty royally screwed if you're not careful. So now it's time for the bunker fight. First things first, you're gonna wanna just kind of get up to about here. You can do a double jump up here. It's actually one of the easier ones. Or you can just run around like normal, unless you're Krieg, in which you have to go around. So what you want to do is just kind of do your little setup here again. And just do exactly what you would have done during the super skip. And get up here. Like I said, it's not very precise. You don't have to get as good of a jump as I just did there. It's really easy. You can even land on the inner edge right here. Like this, maybe? Hang on. I'm gonna try and get right on there. And you can throw it really early like that. Maybe not that early. That was a little too early. But you've got infinite tries pretty much with that, so... Jesus. Yeah, you can land... Well, just take my word for it. You can land right about there. I can either do it too well or not well enough. Alright. Basically, you can land right there if you really have to. It's really not precise. I would recommend trying it, especially for those of you getting used to double grenade jumps. But it is one of those, if you're comfortable with it, go for it. Otherwise, maybe hold off. And then you can attack this guy. And to mention, these autocannons are all RNG in how they spawn. So it's pretty much just a good luck type situation. Hope you get the best that you can get there. There's no real trick to it necessarily, it's just kinda get lucky. Because sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll get perfect spawns, other times you'll just kinda get screwed and nothing will happen, and you'll kind of be sad. It's just kind of how it works. Just kind of how it works. You'd like him to all like spawn around the back in an order, but that's pretty rare. By that I mean I may have seen it twice in my speedrunning career, if that. It's not very common that you'll get the perfect cycle. Or at least a perfectly usable cycle. Wow. Thanks there, game. That's awesome of you. We'll go back and get him here in a second. This is the one fun thing about torque barrels, though. You can kind of rain hell upon your enemies. Kind of burst them down with rockets. I'm gonna run back to the back here. To be honest, I might just check my turrets here. See what they can do. If they can kill him for me. And then we're gonna see if we can't kill this auto cannon. Will the turrets do their thing? Maybe. Nice, they got him. Yeah, not a great pattern. Not a great pattern at all. But it works. You got him eventually. And now I need to talk about bunker strategies here. Because for everybody they're going to be slightly different. Granted, it's the same basic idea and just crit him to hell and slag him when possible. But it's going to be nice buzzard. Basically, it's use the slag skills that you have. And then just crit him as well as possible. Obviously, you're gonna have the best time with Zero. Like, that's just kind of how it works. You're gonna have the easiest time here on Zero, since he has Bore. Outside of that, it's just kind of crit him. The one other exception to that is gonna be Krieg, because you're gonna want to blood split him actually. So you'll have your slag weapon out naturally with your other three-bladed weapons merged onto it. And then basically the idea is to slag him, slag his turrets, get him to release the beast, and then blow up one of his turrets, because that'll actually blood explode, do damage to bunker, and then blood explode the other turret will do even more damage to bunker. And if he's slagged, it'll pretty much destroy him. That's your basic kind of strategy for that. You can also hope to get lucky and maybe crit him with a melee with your infinitely tall melees, but that might be a little... It's dependent on which cycle he gives you, which a lot of these kills actually can be. So I'm going to actually merge one more sniper in here since I just need crit damage. More than anything. He's not being too nice here. He's just kind of flying around. And definitely try and get as many damage and kill skills as possible before he comes in here. Okay, here we go. So let's check my turrets for slag. Kill his autocannon here, and just start critting him as much as possible. Here. This is autocannon. Let's just go to town. So if you slag him enough, and you do enough damage with enough crits and all that, you'll pretty much one-cycle him, no matter what. That's your goal. Outside of that, you just kill him as quickly as possible. On Gauge, you can kind of leave Death Trap up here to kill him for you. Everybody else, you're gonna kind of want to sit right about where I am, get ready to fall down. You can even leave a turret up there if you got enough, if it's up by that point. Otherwise, just kind of murder them and instantly fall in here. You don't need to check loot unless you really, really want to. I wouldn't see any reason to.
That voice modulator had better work, or this will all be for nothing.
Especially since the faster you get in here, the more dialogue you skip, more or less. It takes, like, just sitting there and sitting up there costs more time than just sitting up there, because there is dialogue, extra dialogue that you have to watch. And first thing you want to do when you come in here is hit the elevator button, but don't ride the elevator. The elevator is super slow, we don't need it. We're just going to let gravity do our work for us. Just kind of crouch, fall down here. Looky looky, fake wall. And then you're going to want to kind of jump in this way right here. So jump right around that little corner into this hole. And if possible, you'll do more or less what I did right there and not hit anything on the way down. It can be really tricky to do that. It's really not easy. I wouldn't call that easy at all. It's probably one of the harder tricks to actually perform. But yeah, it's just kind of fall right down this hole here as best as possible. You do have to air strafe a little bit because of how the geometry works and all that. But it is on this one, not on any of the other ones. So from there, you can just kind of come right into here. So, right when you hit this button, you want to just save quit. It's going to skip talking to Angel there. It's going to get you right into the fight. It's a lot of time save to do so. Just kind of run up here, hit the button again, shoot the injector, and then you can get your infinite ammo again. That emerges, and you're ready to do this area, which is essentially an auto-scroller, but it does also depend on how quickly you're killing enemies. So, really and truly, it's an auto-scroller, but it's an auto-scroller that you control how fast you go, and it's all in how fast you kill everything. Easily one of the more boring parts of the run, but it's just kind of slag everything, kill it quickly, don't die. That's about all you've got. You can also use these shock field generators to second wind off of if you didn't realize that. I don't think a lot of people necessarily know that. But you can. It's a very useful thing to use. Granted, you have to leave them up to do so, but it's up to you whether you want to or not. See, I'll show you right here. Gives you second wind. Super useful. So, again, just slag everything, kill everything. Quickly as possible. Simple as that. It's just a slow-paced area, unfortunately. So you just kind of have to deal with it that way. These turrets don't actually affect any of the spawns. So you can kill them so they don't kill you, but know that these enemies are kind of your priorities. You don't want to be killing them as much as possible. So you can kill them in between waves, you can kill them if they're just going to completely murder you while everything else is spawning in. But don't worry about them if possible, because they aren't actually that worth it to kill. Necessarily. Once the shield's up, just kind of go ahead and shoot it. I would say that ion loaders are probably your highest priority, because they can end up killing you really easily, as well as they're just annoying in general because you can't shoot them through their shield, unless you're using a launcher and kind of know where to aim and abuse the splash damage on it, which is going to be right around the top. So you have to be a little lucky, and I wasn't. So that is why ion loaders are easily first priority when you're trying to kill things in this area. Easily number one. Because they can end up murdering you real quick, even if they don't actually hurt you. Even if they don't actually touch you. Believe it or not.
Just stay alive.
Unfortunately, you do have to kind of wait around a bit for this guy to actually do his job. But that's just kind of how it works, unfortunately. So we got an ion loader. And my turret's focusing on the guy. What a shock. Follow the second one.
Jack, shut down the light bridge. Damn it! Now I can't reach the last injector panel. I don't know what.
How you doing?
Lily, what the hell? I told you not to come.
Yeah, I didn't listen. Hey, look, bad guys.
Sometimes you get a little unlucky with badasses spawning, since they're pretty much completely random throughout this area, what you can get, and badasses take quite a long time to kill. So, every once in a while you'll just get a lot of them for no reason,
I've got you.
and it's not a great thing for you.
This isn't over. Stay on your toes.
This is the last wave, so we don't have to worry about it anymore after here. The very end of the quote-unquote auto-scroller. Wow, that is a lot of badasses. Right as I say it. There's a lot of badasses. Granted, with enough damage, badasses even themselves die really quickly, but... Alright. So one thing to mention at this point is there are two things that could potentially go wrong at this point. If you'll notice, she's still giving out ammo like this. After you shoot this last injector, she can still give you ammo, and that's a problem. Nothing you can do about it. It's just kind of how the area works every once in a while. You just kind of get screwed there. And then... the next thing that can happen is you can stand on top of either Roland or Lilith's spawn and despawn them. For Lilith, it's not a problem. She won't be there at the end here. She'll be in some random place that I don't actually know where she is. But Roland, if you do so, you soft lock the game because he's not there anymore. So definitely be on lookout for where you're standing in terms of that. Do not stand right on top of where Roland's going to spawn, or you will not be able to turn the quest, and you're going to have to save quit.
I got the shield down. Hit the injector.
Alright, there you go. So, right about here is where you don't want to be standing. If you do, you're in trouble.
Dad, I have to tell you something. You're an asshole.
Angel! No, Angel!
What kind of person would do this to their own daughter?
The kind of guy who deserves to die.
Once you save quit, you can just, or once you turn the quest in, excuse me, you can just save quit and skip that entire cutscene. So put you right here at the end. And if you really want to look, you can check these chests. There's really that last piece of gear that you're just not getting. But odds are you're not going to get it. So more often than not, it's going to be pretty much the best idea to move on. However, that one actually might be better. That one actually might be better. This time, since it's 2 levels higher and about 100,000 better. Alright. Since we haven't watched the cutscene for Marcus yet, though, grab that quest. If you grab that, also, nice.
Are you okay? Did I get you to
Once you grab that, the cutscene here is not actually active anymore. So you can just run right up the stairs and not have to worry about watching a Marcus cutscene. Which is a good 20 seconds. It's a good long while. So just come in here, talk to Mordecai, save quit. Here, just travel to the Iridium Blight, since it'll be active via the save quit. Don't have to go through the dust at all. And then you'll want to get your car, make sure you're in the catapult technical again, because, again, the fastest car in the game. For no reason, open the door, and just drive right down to the end here. Something I guess I didn't mention is that for boosting, once you start boosting, you don't want to stop boosting. So no like pumping boost like that, because that actually increases the amount of time that it takes for everything to recharge. So it's actually the least efficient way to use your boost. You want to always have your boost going until you're going to stop. Sometimes you're going to want to kill your boost anyways, in which, fine, you're taking a couple, probably frames of time loss, who cares. If it's better to control with it, do that. But especially on flat ground, keep your boost going all the way until it's out, and then let it fully recharge before you try again. So once you get here, once you trigger this dialogue, it doesn't matter what you do. Just you can drive off the edge. You can really do whatever you want. Once you hear Brick here say Cauldron, save quit. Because this will let you travel to Sawtooth. So it really doesn't matter what you do there in any way. Just as long as you let that dialogue happen. Here you go. Sawtooth hoy. Now, get your infinite ammo again. Which one's the better one? The Torg? Okay, Torg exhaust. We'll try that out on the Warrior, because I'm not sure how good the Lisco is gonna do via that. Alright. So you can just gonna grenade jump right about here and land right where you need to go. And then you can continue your basic movement procedures. One thing to mention here is there are 2 ways to get over here really quickly. You can either go down here and do a grenade jump, which I don't have a grenade at this point. I probably should have bought some. It doesn't really make that much a difference actually. But everybody but Creed can do that. and then you do need at least one grenade for it. The other way to do this is to run right about here, jump on top of the barrel, hope the enemies don't blow it up for you, and then you can jump across. So it's really whichever way you're more comfortable with, whichever way is being faster for you. And I should mention about the ambush commanders here. Basically, it's somewhat nice. Anyways, it's somewhat RNG in how they spawn. Too busy trying to explain that. So basically, you've got the two doors. You've got either up there, or you've got down. You got up here, or you've got down there. And basically, it's RNG how many spawn out of each one. The best RNG is to come up here and get 3 to spawn. That is the best RNG possible. But you can get 3 and 1 on either or any of them. Oops. Did I get one more up here? I've already killed 3. Okay, no, he's down here. So you can lose a little bit of time. Yeah, there he is, there he is. You can lose a little bit of time if you get... Well, actually, there are a couple different ways you can go. You can get 1 here, then get 2 over here, and then get 1 again over here. So 1, 2, 1, that's pretty much the worst you can get. You can get 2 over here, then 2 over there, which is... It's okay. It works. It's not too bad. You can get 3 over here, and then 1 over here, which is the best RNG you can get. And you can also get 1 over there and 3 over there, though that one's a little bit rare. You don't really see that one often. I should mention that Sawtooth is pretty much going to be your most hated area. It's hard, you're probably going to die, you're probably going to lose infinite ammo to some heavy nomads or Goliath blasters spawning with some Vladoff launchers. It can be a little difficult, especially when you're first learning this run. Dying at least once pretty much is normal, especially if you go down a lot. Speak of the devil. Dying in here is pretty normal for almost everybody. Just the sheer number of enemies that kind of throw at you is just more than you're normally going to be used to at this point. You want to run past as many as possible, but you should also be keeping a good number of them dead, because they can really mess you up on this next jump here if you're not careful. And this one's a tricky one. This one's really difficult, especially to learn your first time. So basically the goal is to get a grenade stuck on this little platform. So basically you're going to want to look down this hill a little bit so that you're throwing the grenade straight down. Also, taking your grenade mod off is good. But just like that. You'll see it kind of stop there, and you can jump up like that. So again, you have to be looking down this hill a little bit, and don't be right next to it either. Be a little bit off the wall and be looking almost straight down. Not directly down, but just kind of down the wall a little bit. It's going to be really weird to get that placement. You can do it in a few other ways, but I'm going to teach the way that I'm comfortable with. So, right about there. Oops, not quite down the wall enough. Hang on. There we go. Don't be too far left either. And you can get right up here via that. Good thing too, that was my last grenade. And run past here as quickly as possible. Sounds like there's a heavy nomad back there. That's terrifying. Run, hit this trigger all the way from right here, for whatever reason. And then jump onto this platform, jump onto here, and jump onto these stairs.
Hey, do me a favor.
Get kind of messed up by the gun turrets here, but more often than not you'll be able to kill them. And get up. Run directly over to this lever for Boombringer. And instantly start running away. Because you can kind of hit him as you're running away here. And once you see he has no more health anymore, just kind of run away. Make sure you don't forget him too. I do that too often myself. Where you just kind of get down to the bottom and expect mortar to spawn, and he's just not there. So, definitely things to look out for. Mortar here. You can either kill him or kind of run past him. I would recommend running past him. He can be very beefy. So just kind of do that. Hope you don't die. But if you do die in the elevator while it's moving up, just go ahead and kill yourself. And that's for a good reason. Because what will happen if you get down inside this elevator and then it makes it to the top, it actually warps you up top. Don't know why, but it does. So there's that, if nothing else. That's the best that we can really offer about that. So dying in this elevator is not bad as long as it's already moving up, because you'll make it up to the top either way. If you're worried here, send it back down. If not, just kind of go for it and kill. You're probably going to have to kill a couple of these enemies because of the enemy limit in the game again. Also, potentially for safety as well. But then, oh good, I got a badass buzzer too. Now it's just kind of a game of let the buzzard spawn and hope you don't get a badass. Which I apparently did. I apparently did. Which is horrible luck, by the way. They're normally pretty rare. Wow. I was too indecisive on those kills there. Should have just stuck to one. But as you can see, it's really easy to die. It's pretty safe to actually kill all the enemies. I probably should have done that instead. Use the elevator. Alright. I'm not sure if it works the second time here, but it might still. I do want to test this real quick. It might still work me up top. Yep, there you go. So that's a nice little shortcut for you if you die in the elevator. Don't really know why it happens, but it does, so. Good enough, right? Good enough. Don't have to know why things work, just that they do work. Alright. Good, looks like he was slag. So, having slag for these guys is important, but not everyone's going to be able to do so. Unless you're Maya, Axton here, or I guess technically Gage. Or if you're really good arm on Zero and really lucky, you could do it for him too. But slagging them is very beneficial if possible for your character. There are two ways to do this. You can either grenade jump off the top here and run down to the end, which is only a little bit slower. I mean, by a couple seconds, especially with people that have run speed increases. Or you can kind of wait for him to show up here. Once you get the check mark, go ahead and save. Good. Make sure you have that check mark, or else you're gonna have to run all the way back up to the top. Same with jumping off. Make sure you've actually hit all of them. And then travel to the Erdem Blight here. Grab a barrel technical again. drive down via the door again. Come on. Let's not get stuck here.
Keep your head down, Slab. My boys are starting their run. That ought to do it.
Okay, get out of your car here. Turn the quest in.
See that building with the light shooting out of it?
Get your infinite ammo again.
That's the info stock.
Well, I say that, but you can get away with it because you don't actually have to kill anything in this area. But you might go down. So, especially for launcher type people, I would recommend at least getting infinite ammo. You don't have to fully merge, because you probably shouldn't need crits. But you can easily die in this next section of the game. So it's really a good idea to kind of do this to get infinite ammo. It will cost you a little bit of time to do so, but it's up to you whether you want it or not. Because you don't actually need to kill anybody, it's just you're kind of preventing bad things from happening when you do so. So now just kind of jump into your car again. Via the catch a ride machine, don't use the car itself because that's a lot slower.
There should be a ladder on the side of the pipe.
Also be careful driving through slag pits because it can potentially perma-slag you.
God damn it.
Which is a very, very bad thing.
Looks like the ladder's busted.
It makes this area harder.
Pipe looks cracked.
The slag puddles are slightly bigger than you'd think. So what you want to do is drive all the way into this camp as far as possible.
I made it to the Hyperion outpost. Just give us
As you can tell, I'm already getting a little hurt here.
the other 2 pump stations and raise the pressure till the pipes fit the
Possible, kind of get to the catch ride, redeploy your vehicle and get into it via that,
where the warriors buried.
rather than getting in your car again, because it skips the animation. You don't have to worry about it.
Vince Gill answered Jack again. Well,
And then you just gotta get in here.
no, I'm just playing. He's still really dead. Grabbed his echo unit when I left. Just wanted to tell you the Lillard was doing a bang-up job.
Well, actually, in UVHM, for Gauge, for new game Gauge, you typically skip this save point. In here, it's actually not going to matter too much because we're going to actually save quit out of here. So if you want for safety, you can hit it. Otherwise, don't worry about it. And then just kind of hope you get past these guys, which may or may not be successful because they are kind of annoying and hurt a lot when they shoot you. So just kind of do your best. Pump Station 2 is pretty hated. And just kind of make it to the end here and hit both of them. Get up when possible. Don't die. Good luck. Just kind of run through. And once you get that second check mark, just make sure you save quit out. It'll be faster than death warping for sure. And here's one of the situations where it's kind of optional to get infinite ammo, definitely, because you shouldn't need it nearly as much. Get your barrel technical again. Drive right into the front door here. Save quitting out of this one too, so we don't have to be sneaky or anything like that about it. Just kind of run in the front door. And this is why it's going to be optional to get infinite ammo, because you can just kind of get here without nearly as many problems as Pump Station 2. And just kind of hit them both. This is about the same speed as getting back into the car, and it's a lot safer, so I would recommend doing this. And from here, definitely don't get infinite ammo because we're not actually going to be killing anything. We'll just drive back to the pipe. And once you hit it and get the check mark, save quit again. then you can just kind of transfer right into the Badlands. Another place where it's optional to get infinite ammo. I would recommend it because otherwise getting up off Saturn is going to be a little annoying if he downs you. But again, it's up to you whether you want to or not. I wouldn't do full marges or anything. You don't need that much damage. Just enough to get up off the Saturn. So either get infinite ammo, just get marges based on who you are, how comfortable you are with damage. Kree's gonna wanna go through Firestone here. Everybody else can kind of jump over this wall. I'll kind of show you. Just kind of gonna jump like that, right over the wall, and then just continue on to Saturn. For skipping Saturn here, because we're not gonna fight him, that would take way too long. Basically, I do it two ways. There's a grenade jump that I'm gonna show off, and there's a you can just run across the top of the bridge. Running across the top of the bridge is possible on everybody. It's pretty much recommended. It's gonna be a little bit faster. It's the goal. But if Saturn decides that he's going to stay up on top of the bridge, you're not really going to be able to do much. So I would definitely recommend having both options practiced and ready to go. So if he jumps down, kind of take the elevator up and run across the bridge. If he stays up there and is annoying, do the grenade jump that I'll show you here in a little bit. So let's see what he ends up doing here. Looks like he jumped down, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the elevator strat, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the other way. Every once in a while he'll jump back up like this, so you just kind of have to run and hope he doesn't actually hurt you. There is a problem though, with going on top of the bridge, is that these exploders will spawn, and they will follow you. These two exploders will follow you all the way up top and kill you. Either take them out now or prepare for them later, because they will follow you all the way to the top. Guarantee it. So I'm going to try skipping them because I think I can prepare and not get killed by them. Yeah, they went after my turrets, so perfect. So then you'll notice just copy my route through this room, and you'll notice that you can kind of jump off the top of the stairs up into here. It's only a little bit faster than going around right here, but it's up to you what you want to do. Because you have to actually save that time fully, you have to jump on top of this railing and not behind the railing, and that can be kind of tricky. Sounds like we still got a exploder. Nice. Tricked him. If you do this fast enough, there'll actually be a dialogue skip here that'll open this up faster, but you have to get here pretty much immediately. So just kind of wait here. And grab it. And you know what? Ow. See if we can't get out of here. We'll show you the grenade jump for Saturn skip here. Depends on how nice everybody's feeling in terms of the enemies. They could very easily decide to not be cooperative in any way. Sounds like he's nuking again. Let's just kind of sit here and wait for that. There we go. So normally you would, when you pick up the Echo, you can just save quit out. I'm just kind of showing you the alternate way to get up here. So, how many nukes did you launch? Good lord. So, alright. So you want to stand right about here to do this. And the basic idea is to grenade jump from here to up here. Right up on top of here. So the easiest way to do it that I've found is to try and bounce a grenade down this slope right here onto this slope so it bounces up a little bit, and then you jump off of it and get a bounce. I'll kind of show what it looks like. Just like that right there. It's a very tricky jump. You're gonna have to get used to it eventually because everybody but Creed can use it. Just be very, very careful and make sure that you've practiced that enough to be comfortable on it. Because if you're not careful, you can easily mess that up, and it will be very, very bad. So if it, all right, he's not gonna let me show you it again. So we'll just save quit out. Just make sure you do about that. Have it bounce on that one wall, and make sure it bounces up and off that second wall and doesn't bounce downwards. You want it to bounce up, not down. Remember that. So from here, you just save quit out after getting the recorder and just go straight to Sanctuary, because it's time for the final area of the run.
Throwing masher.
Back up to Mordecai here.
Hey, Slab.
And run directly over to Claptrap.
That's where we're headed. This is the final fight, amigo. If you gotta prepare, do it now. Go check around the city. These people don't have much, but they still want to help.
It's another point where you can double click Claptrap so that you can get a check mark a little early with a dialogue skip. And then travel right to the Iridium Blight. Get your car.
Electricity in the air when you're just itching to murder someone. I haven't felt that in such a long time.
So I've passed King Mong, don't die to him. Get an animation cancel, and run directly up to Claptrap here. Alright, get ourselves our infinite ammo again. Oh, that's right, I was gonna try the scattergun, see how much better it is. It should be a lot better, seeing as it's, what, 2 levels higher. It is over 10,000 damage better. So, yeah, that's definitely an upgrade. So, when looking for a scattergun or a long rider, definitely look for 72 long riders. And not level 70. So you get slide grenade on. And this fight is just gonna be optimizing. Actually, I'm gonna want, let's go on this. Now that I think about it. But yeah, it's just more optimization here. More optimization. We have to deal with surveyors, so the let's go is actually probably gonna be a little bit better. They are the biggest potential problem of this area, of this fight, because instead of doing what they're supposed to and, you know, healing things, they can just fly around up top and completely waste your time, because that's what they're good at. That's what they're really good at. Especially if you kill all the enemies and don't really have a good way to take care of them. You can pretty easily waste a minute or 2 or 3 or even an infinite amount of time trying to kill them. Especially if they end up going under the map, because then you're really in trouble. Then you really have no way to actually continue.
Dispatching additional troops. No! Don't dispatch more troops! I'm sorry for the female voice!
Whoops. not bad. Okay. You can also kind of get a few last things in this fight if you're lucky. Some drops. For just some last minute jack killing things, but you'll see. You might get something good. You might not. You never know.
Dispatching additional troops.
A lot of grit pox. I say they go down. Hi. Bye. If they don't end up facing you, it can be a bit of a problem. But from here, it's just kind of one more fight, and we'll be on to Here's Pass in the very end of the run.
Additional troops.
Nice. Super badass down. I think all the other ones are already dead. Now that I look at it. Now that I look at it. Yeah, as you can see, Lasco is still a pretty effective weapon, even if you don't find a good scattergun. Oh wow. That is almost better. That is almost better if it didn't have... You know what? I'm gonna use that. The level's the worst part on that. Of course I got it at the very end of the run, so it doesn't matter. Not that much. But being able to shoot that much faster is not bad, especially since it's still 2 million damage. 2 million damage is still pretty good for a launcher. Right when you get that check mark, you can travel. Do not travel before. Do not travel before that check mark, or you will have to watch Claptrap open the door again. You'll be able to tell if you went too early, if when you get to right about here-ish and discover the area, it doesn't actually, you don't hear Jack start talking.
Feel that, child killer? Huh? He's nearly charged. This world, go ahead.
Just kind of keep your movement going, as possible.
Deploying sentry.
And this next area is probably the most stressful, because you have to deal with RNG of enemies spawning. Wow, alright, so right here an RPG loader can spawn, and right here an exploder can spawn. Both of them are bad. If you get any of them, they're bad. Luckily, I got none of them. So just kind of jump across here. They both spawn up top. And you want to do that grenade jump right there. So basically, you're going to want to chuck it and jump up onto this. If you see the save point not trigger, you probably went too far this way. You want to be right about here-ish for that to spawn. Not over here, because if you're behind the save point, it doesn't actually trigger. You see, I got it because I went in front of it and then started walking around right here. And then you also have to deal with the snipers though they're not as bad as they normally can be. So that's the kind of skip for that fight. For Krieg, you have to run around, and if you're not feeling safe with that grenade jump, especially if there are enemies about to hit you, especially that exploder, then just be safe, run around, and try not to die that way. So, from here, you want to do another grenade jump on top of this. There are a couple different ways to do it. You can do it from on top of this container right here, which you'll want to get up to by this. You can grenade jump across just from right here. You can do it just from the ground, like this. Well, I say as I mess it up. Give me a second.
Grenade!
And that's the basic idea. You get it from back here.
Throwing masher!
There you go. That's how you get up there, just like that. Or you can grenade jump from right about there. I find this one the fastest. This one's the safest and the easiest, but this one's a backup if you miss either of them. So you can just kind of throw it against the wall a little bit and just grenade jump straight up onto this. Krieg, you have to do it from over here. And you grenade jump right up from here onto this, and then you have to air strafe around. Here, let's try that again. I have a few more grenades. You would just kind of do this to here, then air strafe around. I will get this. I will show you. Got too much momentum when I'm doing it. There you go. Just like that there. Just kind of air strafe onto here. And then air strafe again onto this. Though it's not as precise, you can pretty much jump straight. Then from here, there are two different routes. One is at most a second or two faster. It's really not that much better. You kind of jump up onto the wall, jump up there, run across, and then run across this little wall. And jump over that little thing there, because you can make it. I'll try and show that off real quick. Without dying, hopefully. You can do up here. It skips the save point over here, but it also doesn't deal with its enemies as much. Otherwise, you can just go over the wall and just run around like normal. I prefer the other way. It's barely slower. It's safer because you get a save point here. And then you can just jump onto this, which will get you right over here. So, it's really whichever one you want to do. I recommend this one, especially for beginners. I've lost a lot of runs over there just to falling off, and it's bad. So I would recommend over here. It's barely slower, but this is an option for you, if nothing else. From here, you can get more grenades if you want. Shouldn't need too many. Everybody else is going to jump across this gap right here, but Krieg will do it from right here. So you can do it from here on everybody else and just jump across, but the Krieg skip's going to look like this. She'll be right here and jump over here instead. Because you can't make that as Krieg. You can't make that gap necessarily. So it's jump there onto here or jump from there based on which character you are.
Be careful, honey.
And now you can either run around that side, which is safer, or try and run past these sergeant loaders. Looks like he's got Malon snipers, so that's bad.
It's killing time.
That's really bad. Hoping for a grit proc. I didn't get it. I'm not surprised. Not surprised in the slightest. That's why it's a bit riskier, because they can spawn with some really problematic weapons. Some really problematic weapons that shouldn't be weapons that they spawn with. So, again, for beginners, go around the right side there. If you're looking to shave off a couple more seconds, go around the left and kind of try to avoid those. And here, we're in the Vaults of the Warrior. Very last area. For just about everyone, unless it's a unless it's an elemental launcher, you're not going to be using it. AKA, if you're Gage with a shock launcher, or anybody else with a shock launcher, anything like that, you can actually use those on Jack and the Warrior. But explosives are resisted by both parties, so you really don't want to be using anything Torg, anything just base explosive, no TDRs, no bandits that aren't elemental, anything like that. Definitely, you're gonna want your crit weapon, and or you're gonna want a elemental one. Don't use fire on the warrior, obviously. Corrosive is probably not your best bet either. Shock is probably your best bet if you're gonna use an elemental launcher, but your crit weapon's pretty much gonna be better in most situations. So we're just gonna go ahead and re-crit swap because I may have messed it up earlier. I'm not sure. I'm gonna use this shotgun as well.
Be careful, honey.
And then there are two ways to get through this area. One is about 15 to 20 seconds faster. The other way is completely safe and my recommended way for beginners. So the easy way is just go to the elevator. Use the intended strats, do everything that way. You're not losing that much time if you decide to do it. It's really minor, all things considered. It's just when you're trying to go for really good times that the seconds add up. So just take the elevator, do the normal thing, run into the area, you're fine. The other way is this beast that we call the vault skip. So you kind of jump onto this little rock here, and then you are going to jump onto this rock, onto that rock, up on top. Which is just as scary and hard as it sounds. It's not terrible once you get used to it, but the first time you try it, you're probably going to miss it. First couple times, you'll probably miss it. Another reason it's so hard is just because of the way this terrain works. So much of it is sloped and you can't actually stand on it. So there are backup strats. You can kind of fall down onto these rocks and you can get up from it. You can kind of get onto these rocks and jump up to here and jump onto here and do all that stuff. If you do fall, it isn't the end of the world. You might have to grenade jump off of a rock down there so you can actually get up, but it's not absolutely death if you do fall and fail. But it's obviously preferred not to, because if you miss it the first time, you pretty much wasted time and should have taken the elevator. So this is pretty much strats for when you're going for a very, very optimized time, or when you're actually comfortable with it. So basically what I aim to do is I look right about at this line, just right down that line right there. Kind of chuck the grenade and it'll get stuck right about there. And as you can see, it'll get kind of stuck and you wait and you just kind of jump to get that. I didn't do it right there, but let's do it again. There we go. Another reason why that grenade jump is so hard is because you have no visual on it. It's all based on your feel and how well you know grenade explosion timing. So you kind of have to know not to jump too early where you won't get up here, or too late in which you'll also not get up there. And then you have to not go too far over to the left or right, or you'll just fall off. It's a very precise jump. It's not something that's really easy to do. But you'll see I kind of jump against the wall to stop all my momentum and land on this little edge right here. Right about there, you'll start falling off. Right about there, you'll start falling off. So just kind of walk up the edge once you've made it up here. So our next goal is to get on this little outcropping thing right here. So you can just run and sprint jump up here onto this. Then we're gonna want to get on top of this little platform. And this is probably the hardest part of the jump. Yeah, that grenade jump may have looked hard, but this is harder most of the time, because of the way this terrain works. If you don't get up there, you're just gonna slide down. So basically, you're just gonna want to get, it's just something you want to get the feel for. Don't hit this too much or you're gonna bounce off pretty much. That may have been actually the problem that I run into more often than not. So yeah, don't jump too shallowly this way. Just jump and hold forward when you're looking right about here. And that should get you right up there. Wow, that was actually easier than I thought. Okay. I've been just doing it wrong. Even the best. Learn every day. Oh, yeah. There we go. There's how to learn it. Just kind of look right about here, jump and hold forward at the same time, you'll make it up there. Just be careful not to fall off, because if you fall off here, you pretty much fall off all the way down to the bottom and pretty much fall into the lava. So, from here, it's not necessarily over, but you're on this little platform and you're not where you're supposed to be, that's for sure. And you've got two options now. You can either just kind of jump off into safety and run to the end, or you can kind of take a risky grenade jump. And of course, I'll show you the risky grenade jump. Kind of jump off that, and then you want to land on top of this thing. Do not land there, because you will fall and get stuck. You'll be sad. I've lost world records to that before, where I've fallen in there and gotten stuck. Especially if you have no grenades left, because then you really have to wedge yourself out of there, and that's really tough to do. So, this is the risky part. You can jump onto this thing here. That's what'll work. Or you can just take the safe route and jump down to the other side of this rock right here, and play it a bit safer. So, you can also, if you're scared about dying to the warrior, or Jack or something, you can run back and hit the save, in which it's only a couple seconds out of your way. And to be honest, if you're scared of dying to the warrior, it might be better just to take the elevator, to be perfectly honest. But anyways, now it's just time for the boss battle. So you want to equip all your slag gear. And let's hope and pray that this fight goes well. So, name of the game again is to just slag and crit for both these bosses. Whether it be via a Lasco, whether it be via a scattergun, any other high damage, high crit weapon that you manage to find. Pretty much just go for slag. I'm gonna try not using my turrets here. Curious. Oh wow, he got slagged actually. He actually has a decent amount of slag resistance. So actually getting him slagged with a grenade or something like that is really, really good. So you'll see he dies a lot faster that way. Aim for his head, he pretty much melts with the amount of crit damage that you have added. With preferably 3 Jacob snipers, but if you have to deal without one, it's not a massive deal. I tried saving my turrets there, mainly because I'd rather have them on this fight. For this fight, they're going to be a little more important. Because you want to slag and kill the warrior much more than you want to slag and kill Jack. It's a much longer process for this fight than the Jack fight. Oh goody. Oh goody. Well, it's a great start. That is a great start, but normally you wouldn't be down at that point anyways, so now just kind of hopefully get him slagged and just hit him in his chest or in his mouth. His mouth actually is going to probably give you better luck in doing damage, but since he moves it so much, it's really just hit his chest plates, especially since you can get up off of them. Just kind of crit him over and over and over as much as you can. If you're using a scattergun like this, definitely make sure to scope in. It's going to be better DPS for you since you're going to have a tighter spread and all that. If you get him slagged, he dies really, really fast, and at least Maya and Zero can both one-cycle him. If you have enough damage and all that. but everybody else can still kill him pretty quick as long as you actually end up slagging him. And he's really not hard to slag. You should slag pretty much every cycle as long as you throw something at him, whether it be your turret, your grenade, your kunai, your action, like whatever action skill you have that'll slag him. 9 times out of 10 you'll get it, and you'll be pretty much good to end the game here. So there's UVHM for you. A game of slag as much as possible, kill as much as possible, well, as little as possible, rather. You just kind of go from there. Of course, you gotta check for your legendary. Or a bushwhack. Ah. Got ourselves a leech. Hit him, and timer stops right as you touch the key. Your timer is over. And you can end your splits and check your time.
Wait a sec. Let me.
And there you go. That is the tutorial. Everything gone over in depth. At least most backup strats. What you're looking for, basically. Hopefully at least a decent explanation of how each character works. Even though I'm only doing an accident tutorial. Definitely, if you have specific character questions, I would recommend watching the world record videos. They're all going to be on speedrun.com/bl2. All of those will give you a really good idea of what you're going to be looking for and what you're supposed to do on very specific characters. But this will go at least over in depth what you're going to try to do for each skip, for each area, for everything else like that. So I hope this helps you guys learn a bit better. Helps you run a bit faster, and I hope this creates some interest for this category, because not a lot of people do UVHM, really and truly. It'd be really cool to see a lot more UVHM runners.
Wow.
Wow, Tapia.
Wow.
Wow is right. Wow is right. Wow is actually right. Good parts on this. Pretty bad. Lots of TDR. Lots and lots of TDR. Even though that's Torg. Anyways. Alright, well thank you everyone for watching. I, again, hope this helps. Feel free to ask questions. Message me here on YouTube or on Twitch. Whichever you prefer. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. So yeah, thanks a lot guys. See you guys next time.